Hello everyone, in this video I will be discussing the GridMaker user interface. This is not a in-depth tutorial for any one particular feature. This is just basically an overview of how the user interface is structured and to show you where the different settings are you can adjust and that sort of thing. So the user interface is a tabbed user interface. The first tab, which is the GridMaker tab, this is your main user interface where you will do the work and build the composites. The second tab is the license tab. This is where you will enter your license key. The third tab, the tutorials, this is actually a live view of the website. And this is the tutorial section on the website that contains the user guide and videos for this application. And the fourth tab is not actually a tab, it's more of just a button, but it's the one that says live training. When you click on that, it's going to have some pop-up windows that can step you through the user interface and describe what each section or setting does. This is also a live user interface too at this point, so you could go in and use anything in the user interface live while this is up. And so you can also skip sections if you want to just see what a setting does. If you're in the live training section, anywhere you click is going to give you a description of that particular setting. So it's really handy if you just want to see what something does. You can just click on live training and then click where you want and then just get a description of that particular setting. So I'm going to actually exit out of this now. All right, so the user interface is split up into two sections. You've got your canvas here where the images will display your composites. And this is where everything will change when you make changes to the settings. In the right column is your settings column. And this is where you'll make changes to how it's building the composite. You've also got one row of settings here, which I'll be discussing this in another video by itself. But basically all your settings on the right and then all of your canvas on the left. So on the right side, each section is color coded with a green header. That way, if you expand all of your settings, you can easily see the different sections by just looking for that green header, which is pretty slick. So, and in your buttons here, you can collapse all settings or expand all settings, and that collapses all of the sections below these buttons. So what you have in this right section is you've got this messages section. This will show in here any errors, or it will show any other information. In this particular case, this is not an error. This is just some information to display about how it built the composite. But if you do see any errors, they will pop up here with red text and a yellow background, so you don't miss those. The next area is your source images. This is where you will select the images that you load into here. You can also read from subfolders, so you can, if you have a folder with multiple subfolders in it and you want to pull those all into a composite, you can click this, and then when you select your source folder, it will pull all of those in. I'm not going to go over every little thing in here, but just going to kind of try to breeze through here. Save composites. This is where you'll save your finished designs as PNG, PSD, or JPEG. Presets. This is where you can save all of your settings into your own custom preset. So I've already got a sample one saved here, and that way you can easily apply all of your settings that you've saved. And this saves all of the settings from these sections below here, which are actually the settings that go into how the design is made. And then you've got your buttons here. You can reset your layout or reset all settings, which all of these things I'll be discussing in more details in another video. But then this expand all settings, this expands all of your sections below here, and collapse all settings will collapse all of these sections below here. So your page dimensions, this just sets up your basically the canvas here, so you can change the dimensions of how the images lay out onto the canvas, input margins if you want something different. I'll reset that. Background. This is where you can select the background color to whatever you want. You could have this on a transparent background, which you can save as PNG with transparency. PSD will always save with a separate layer for the background, so it will be transparent regardless if you hide that layer, but you do have this option for transparency. You can also select your own background image here if you want. You got your negative space section. This is where you will set up a negative space where you can define a space that has no images. And again, all of these things, I've got separate videos to discuss these in more details. Your grid settings is where you could set up your spacing between images or your spacing between rows here. So you could add more spacing if you want. Taper the top row. There's just a lot of different things you can do here. And I'm not going to, like, again, it's too much to discuss this all in a particular video here, but make sure to watch the next videos that are going to discuss these in more details. So your image styling, this is basically your corners, your stroke, and that sort of thing. So since we've got a dark background now, let's make the stroke white. We could make it larger. There's a drop shadow we can enable here. And there's some settings for the drop shadow. We could change our corners. Let's say we want oval. We could make those oval. You've also got bevel. You can change those to a beveled corner. And you've got your text, which you can change the color. So now that we got a dark background, we can have a white text if we want. We could change the font to whatever font we want. You can even search the font here. So let's say we're searching for a script font. Anyway, that's just kind of a basic overview of the user interface. Oh yeah, one other thing too, this interactive live rendering. If that is checked, when you move your margins or your negative space around, you can see it push images around on the screen live. If that is unchecked, then you don't see it live, but when you let go of the mouse, then it will recalculate everything. And the reason why there is this option is because if you have a system that's a low power system and the live view can't keep up, you can uncheck that. Also, if there's more than 150 images and you're using a negative space, this becomes disabled by default because of system resources. When you get a lot of images on the screen, calculating around this negative space really can't be done as fast as you can move the mouse. So, but if this is off, that live view will be available up to 1,000 images. Anyway, hope this video helps. Make sure to watch the next videos where I discuss more details, all the different aspects of the program.